The Chiefs proved the doubters wrong again, but this time did it in hostile territory against a formidable opponent in the Buffalo Bills. And not only did KC get their first ever road playoff win in the Mahomes era, but they set some records along the way as they once again knocked the Bills out of the playoffs. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? All right, let's get right into this game. The Chiefs won the toss and deferred, which gave Josh Allen and company the first go. And on the first play of the game, Chamari Connor stripped the ball out of the hands of Stephon Diggs. KC didn't recover it, but I was impressed with that from the rookie safety. Then on the very next play, lots happening here right at the beginning. Allen targeted Diggs once again, and safety Mike Edwards lit him up, causing an incompletion. Problem was, Mike Edwards also accidentally lit himself up as well and was out the rest of the game due to a concussion. And I'm not gonna lie, this had me shook because the last time these two teams played against each other in the playoffs, Tyrann Mathieu got concussed very early in that game as well. A tough loss for KC's secondary then, and a tough loss for their secondary now. Josh Allen then pulled a Travis Kelce on the next play, lateraling the ball to Ty Johnson that went for 16 yards, but could have possibly, maybe been challenged and overturned as a forward pass. It was very close though, so Andy Reid opted not to do so for whatever reason, and Allen took advantage of that, converting on fourth down and helping matriculate his team down the field. Thankfully though, the Chiefs defense held strong on third down thanks to Chris Jones batting Allen's pass down to force a field goal. It was now Mahomes and company's turn to take the field with Bills Mafia going insane, and on 2nd and 9, Rice went 25 yards down the field thanks to the Bills forgetting about him and Mahomes spinning out of trouble to find him. Kelce had a big first down catch. Pacheco got involved, which is the postseason recipe, in my opinion, for the Chiefs. Feed Kelce, feed Pacheco, feed Rice. Those three, give them the ball. However, they had to settle for 3 as well when Justin Watson couldn't reel this tough catch in on third down. Field goal was good, though, to tie the game at 3 apiece. The Bills' offense then got red hot, going 11 plays for 75 yards, gouging the Chiefs' run defense time and time again. Allen also presented his own set of problems scrambling around, and in the end, he's the one who ran it in himself for the Bills' first touchdown of the game as Minihue sadly lost containment. No problem, though, because Isaiah Pacheco runs pissed off. Travis Kelce caught a nice pass for 29 yards, taking advantage of a banged-up Bills linebacker room. They would do this all night long, by the way. Rashee Rice then caught a nice first down grab on third down to move the chains, setting up a 1st and goal. However, the Chiefs had to once again settle for 3 because Mahomes and Kelce misconnected for a potential touchdown on 1st down. Mecole Hardman then ran a jet sweep that went nowhere, and he fumbled the ball. Thankfully, KC recovered, but more on Mecole and fumbles later. Trust me. Then 3rd down was also an incomplete pass, and with the score 6-10 after Butker's second field goal, I was getting a little concerned at this point in the game for a couple of reasons. The first being obvious. KC needs touchdowns. 7 in the red zone instead of 3 as much as possible with the Bills offense playing so well. And then also, the Bills were dominating the time of possession. On top of that, averaging around double the time it took KC to drive the ball down the field. So my fear was if the Bills hogged up the clock and forced field goals by KC's offense, that was going to be a recipe for disaster. On top of that, Willie Gay Jr. also had to leave the game due to a neck injury that flared up over the last week, and he also, like Mike Edwards, never returned to play. My fears calmed slightly, though, on the next Bills drive when Buffalo was stopped after just 5 plays and had to punt after Jalen Watson had a nice PBU, and Chamari Connor had a solid 3rd down stop. Noah Gray then got involved, catching a low pass for a 1st down. Then after a short Pacheco run, he left the field for a play, looking a bit banged up, and CEH actually then had an incredible 28-yard run up the right sideline. You could not ask for anything more from him on this play. And something else you couldn't ask much more from was the Bills defense blowing a coverage shortly after leaving Travis Kelce wide open for a 22-yard score. You cannot leave Kelce open like that, Bills. Anyway, that made the score 13 Chiefs, 10 Bills, with 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. And of course, the Bills offense stayed on fire with cooking, Stephon Diggs catching a nice pass, which for some reason had Nick Bolton in coverage on him of all people. Allen then had another almost lateral style scramble pass to the left sideline, then had an incredible scramble all the way up to the 11. And with 44 seconds left in the half, James Cook dropped what could have been a TD, but Shakir had a solid catch for a 1st down at the 2. And then of course, Josh Allen ran in another touchdown on the next play, bringing the Bills up 17-13 at halftime after KC couldn't really get anything going with 23 seconds to go in the second quarter. Something that could get you guys going in the morning at least is my coffee, the HBTC blend of Benchwarmer Brew that I have officially asked Brandon Perna to rename to the Winners Blend because it seems like that's all the Chiefs want to do these days. And while I'm not sure he would do that, talking about Brandon Perna renaming this, being a Broncos fan and all, I'm sure that most of you would enjoy a victorious cup of HBTC Joe as you sip on this very smooth medium roast with origins from Mexico and Ethiopia. This is also a way to support the channel as we keep cranking out this post-season content with tons of off-season content to follow whenever that happens, hopefully after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. With that being said, let's get into the second half of this game. KC started out with the ball, again, trailing by 4, and on the very first play, Mahomes connected with MVS for 30 yards. MVS? He's alive. A solid catch by him here, and honestly, I've talked a lot of manure on this guy for not showing up time and time again in the regular season, especially for how much he's getting paid. However, I did say this week if MVS wants to show up in this game, I would forgive him for a couple of things, and that's exactly what he did. So I forgive you, sorta. Sure, he only had 2 catches in this game, but they were for 62 yards, and only Travis Kelce had more receiving yards than MVS on the night. That's all we need. Some deep ball catches here and there to keep the secondary honest, with some actual fear of the deep ball being a real thing. And on this night, according to Next Gen stats, Mahomes completed all 3 of his deep passes for 84 yards, his most deep completions in a game this season. I like that a lot. Something else I liked a lot was Mahomes using his legs to scramble up the left side for 24 yards shortly after this MVS catch. Pacheco then caught a solid snag on a crosser to set up 1st and goal, to which the team turned that into another Kelce touchdown as he caught a quick pass on the left and bounced outside for a hard-fought score, hitting the pylon at the same time his knee hit the ground. His second touchdown of the day, by the way, and with this second score from Mahomes to Travis Kelce, this puts them as the touchdown leaders all time for playoff duos. That's right, Tom Brady and Gronk were first with 15 touchdowns in the playoffs, but after those 2 scores from Mahomes and Kelce, that moved them from 14 to 16 touchdowns and puts them at the top of the all-time playoff list. On top of that, they did this in just 6 years compared to Gronk and Brady's 9. That touchdown had the Chiefs up 20-17 with 11 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the third quarter. The offensive fireworks would continue, though, sadly, as the Bills were not going to let that lead hold for long. While the Chiefs took just 3 minutes to go 75 yards on that last drive, the Bills took 8.5 minutes, going 15 plays. That included James Cook getting involved on the ground as well as through the air. They converted a couple of 3rd and shorts that got them right near the goal line, and this time, the Bills were backed up on 3rd and goal due to a delay of game penalty, but it didn't matter. Allen scrambled left and fired a shot to Shakir in the front corner of the end zone that only he could catch, and that made this Bills 24, Chiefs 20. Crazy part of that TD catch, though, was it was the first touchdown cornerback L'Jarius Sneed had given up all season long. And with the third quarter nearing its end and the Chiefs needing a touchdown, Pacheco once again had some solid carries. And then on this play here, the Bills blitzed Patrick Mahomes, and he stepped over and up into the pocket to make them pay, delivering a perfect strike to MVS for his second catch of the night, this one for 32 yards. Rashee Rice then shot out like a cannon on this quick pass to start the fourth quarter and bring KC near the goal line. On the very next play, Pacheco had a big boy run, fighting through contact, and the final score of the game to bring the Chiefs up 27-24, another TD drive for the Chiefs in just over 4 minutes of game time. The bad news about this drive, though, was somewhere during it, left guard Joe Thuney, who is arguably the pillar of the O-line this year, one of the best left guards out there, injured his pec and not only left the game, but never returned. Then post-game, we found out he had to get an MRI today, with those results being shared, and it turns out he suffered a pec strain. Ian Rappaport said that's a potential good sign for his availability over the next few weeks, which says to me, Joe Thuney is sadly more than likely not going to be playing this Sunday in the AFC Championship game, and more realistically could play in the Super Bowl if the Chiefs win this weekend. So this makes me sad, but also extremely grateful Kansas City has Nick Allegretti, a veteran defensive piece that stepped in to finish the game and will most likely start on Sunday if Thuney can't go. So, while that is indeed disappointing, the rest of this game did not disappoint, because the very next drive, the Bills screwed up big time. Drew Tranquill had a nice tackle for loss on Cook. Then on 3rd and 5, the water polo champion George Karlaftis batted the ball up for a crucial incompletion. That set up 4th and 5, and KC's special teams unit actually messed up pretty badly here themselves, only having 10 players out on the field. What the hell, Tobe? The Bills noticed that error as well and surprisingly audibled to a fake punt from their own 30-yard line. But even though the Chiefs had one less player out there, they still stopped Damar Hamlin, who had the ball well short of the first down. That resulted in a turnover on downs and gave the Chiefs the ball back at the Bills' 32-yard line with the potential chance to make this a 10-point game. And after an incredible Pacheco run up the left sideline, 29 yards to the 3, the Chiefs decided to give McColl another shot at a jet sweep, and he got the ball knocked out trying to stretch over into the end zone, and the result was a freaking touchback, Bills ball at the 20. This was such a costly mistake by McColl here for multiple reasons. First, the Chiefs were up by 3 with 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and the chance to go up 10, but on top of that, it was first down. If you protect the ball and get the team to the half-yard line instead of trying to score, they have several more plays to run and probably do end up scoring, going up by 10. So a horrible mistake by Buffalo's fake punt was negated by McCole Hardman's horrible mistake at the goal line. That was confirmed upon review, and that gave the Bills another shot. But thank God the Chiefs defense went crazy here with McDuffie tackling Cook for a 5-yard loss. Justin Reed laid the wood on Shakir, and then on 3rd and 12, Sherfield thankfully couldn't reel in this deep shot from Allen that resulted in a poor Buffalo punt. The Chiefs, however, would stall out on offense, even with a PI call moving the chains for them on 3rd down, and Casey still had to punt a few plays later after not being able to move another single yard. This gave the Bills the ball back with 8.5 minutes left in the game. And I won't lie, this had me sweating bullets because the Bills all game long, most of the game at least, had been able to establish long, effective drives, and that could, in theory, take us to the end of the game. That's almost exactly what it did. Thankfully, Stefon Diggs dropped this bomb from Allen on the first play. If he would have caught it, they would have been at like the 15-yard line. They then moved the chains a couple of times. McDuffie almost was able to make a play on this Allen pass, and on the very next, believe it was a 3rd down, Allen tried to scramble for the first, but got the ball knocked out, and Shamari Connor tried to scoop the ball up instead of diving on it, which saved the drive for the Bills as they were able to recover. 2 close calls in a row there by Buffalo that set up a 4th and 3, which they converted to bring them into Chiefs territory with under 5 minutes left to go in the game. Allen then rifled a first down to Sherfield on 3rd and 4, and this would take us to the 2-minute warning. On that next play, Allen went for the kill shot, which was the right read, as he launched it to Shakir for the score, who was open. However, that pass was short because of the pressure Chris Jones was able to get from the left side. He was lined up on the edge. This prevented Allen from being able to step into the throw and get enough on it. That's why it was short, so thank God for Chris Jones. Then on 3rd and 9, the defense held strong, forcing Allen to throw the ball away, play it safe to set up a Tyler Bass 44-yard field goal. And up until this point, Bass was 9-9 in his career in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or in overtime when trailing by 3 or fewer. But that all changed when his kick went wide right due to the wind causing his first miss. This miss brought the Bills all the way back to Super Bowl 25 in the 90s when Bills kicker Scott Norwood missed a 47-yard game-winning field goal wide right, resulting in another Bills Super Bowl L. And while this Tyler Bass kick certainly wasn't the Super Bowl, it did ultimately result in a Bills loss after Isaiah Pacheco ran 2 times for the only first down needed in order for the Chiefs to win this game. Therefore, the Chiefs beat the Bills in their own stadium with KC now 3-0 over Buffalo in the playoffs in the Mahomes and Allen era. So hey, Buffalo, thanks so much for letting the Chiefs trade up in 2017 to get Mahomes and therefore beat you guys every single year in the playoffs. The Chiefs then left the stadium dodging snowballs from Bills Mafia that were as inaccurate as Tyler Bass's field goal attempts, and that means it's Chiefs versus Ravens this Sunday in Baltimore. And while it's not at Arrowhead, the Chiefs are now back for their 6th straight AFC Championship game, which is absolutely insane. More on that matchup in a later video, but man, the Chiefs once again proved to be Buffalo's kryptonite in the playoffs. A great game that was once again down to the wire and ended Chiefs 27, Bills 24. Allen played great for what it's worth, throwing for 186 yards and a score, but also led his team in rushing yards with 12 carries for 72 yards and 2 scores. The Bills' run game was nearly 200 yards, as was their receiving yards. They also had 78 offensive plays compared to the Chiefs' 47. They dominated time of possession, were better on third downs, better in the red zone, but guess what? It did not matter. The Chiefs defense bent at times, yeah, but they only allowed 7 points in the second half. Chamarri Conner stepped up on multiple plays with Mike Edwards out. Chris Jones had several impactful plays himself. Karlaftis had a couple, and then Tranquil had a solid game per usual, stepping in for more plays than normal, with Willie Gay leaving due to that neck injury. Sure, the defense gave up more than ideal at times, but the Chiefs offense took full advantage of the Bills' depleted linebacker room. They averaged 7.7 yards per play on offense compared to Buffalo's 4.7, and despite having 31 less offensive snaps, KC had just 7 less total yards. That is wild. They also averaged nearly double the yards per pass, more yards per rush, and were a McColl fumble at the 1-yard line from winning this game by 10. Mahomes played lights out, throwing for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns, having a perfect passer rating when targeting Kelsey, who caught 5 passes for 75 yards and 2 scores. Then, of course, Isaiah Pacheco had himself a day. He was just 3 yards shy of 100 yards rushing, averaging 6.5 yards per carry on 15 attempts, then caught 1 for 14 through the air. And between Kelsey, Mahomes, and Pacheco, feel free to pick your poison on who gets the game ball, as I could easily give one to any of them. I'd also give an honorary game ball to the O-line, as Mahomes didn't seem under pressure all that much, had plenty of time to go through his reads, and was sacked 0 times. Then, of course, I'm going to give another honorary game ball to MVS for showing up big on his 2 receptions as well. Then Harrison Butker gets one on special teams, scoring 9 total points, as does the special teams unit, that messed up having only 10 people out on the field, but still stopped the Bills short on their fake punt. All in all, I couldn't be happier with this win because, in a down year for KC, on offense especially, they still once again find themselves in the AFC Championship game. So many doubted the Chiefs, said they would be one and done in the postseason, yet they beat the Dolphins, then the Bills, and the Odds as underdogs yesterday, and are now set to face off against a tough Ravens opponent. All we can do now is hope that the team is as healthy as they can be. We should get an update tomorrow on Willie Gay, Mike Edwards, and maybe a little bit more on Joe Thuney, then find out if there's any more injuries. So we got to enjoy the ride this season has been for like a day or so, then turn our attention to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And with all that being said, let me know your biggest standouts and takeaways from this game, and also how you felt during this insane divisional win that once again was down to the freaking wire. And until next time, let's freaking go. How about those